Hey guys, Parfax here. Alright, as you can see, I'm on Killer Arrow. This is my Imperial Nightblade, and this is going to be my PvP build. Alright, let's get started. Alright, I guess we'll start with the two-hander bar. Now this is going to be for solo play. This is going to be so you can run around, be sneaky, you can jump around, be really fast, and just be able to nuke people while taking on quite a few people at one time. Alright, this is the two-hander bar. We're going to use Crit Rush. Now, some people like to use Ambush instead. I like Crit Rush because it guarantees you to crit every time, and in turn, it will do more damage. Okay? And then also, if they happen to be on low health and you're chasing them down, it'll proc on the Executioner, and it'll do even more damage. Okay? So that is going to be your gap closer. And then basically the ability that you're going to spam in between execute. So you hit them with a Crit Rush, and now they've got, still 80% of their health left. You're going to hit them with Surprise Attack. Now this attack hits hard. Okay? As you can see, it says 4,637. If I go ahead and hit my buff here, it goes up to 5,000. Now that's not a whole lot, okay? This build is not for super high burst. Having said that, even though I don't have a ton of weapon power, you can still almost insta-kill people. This build still, that is one thing that Nightblades are so good at, is you don't have to go a whole lot of weapon power, but you can still nuke people down. Alright? So that is going to be Surprise Attack. Now you run in with the Crit Rush. Now, this is probably one of the best PvP abilities in the game. Mass Hysteria. You Crit Rush into them, and maybe they're blocking, or maybe you just don't want them near you. You fear them, so you can Crit Rush back into them and hit them with a Surprise Attack or an Execute. One of the best abilities, they can't block it. The only way they can not be feared is if they are CC immunity, which will happen after you fear them or CC them. Or if they have a movable up, which a movable is not as good anymore, so not a whole lot of people run it. Alright? I mentioned this ability, Executioner. This is just going to be your Execute. I use this over the Nightblade Execute because it's got a longer range and it's easier to hit. Killer's Blade does heal, but a lot of times they're trying to run away from you when they get to that distance, and it also helps out Crit Rush, so that's why I used that. Now, you could, if you did not want to, you could go ahead and replace Ambush here and Killer's Blade here, but I prefer these two abilities over those two. But if you more like the nostalgia of maybe using your own abilities, and sometimes Ambush can be better because you can kind of, it's sneakier. Crit Rush is not sneaky at all, they see you coming, but Ambush sometimes they don't. It is a little sneakier, but I still prefer Crit Rush, but you can swap that out, it's okay. And then the final actual ability is Rally, and this is going to give you your 20% weapon damage, but more importantly, it's going to give you a heal. So if you hit it, as you can see on the right hand side, it says Rally 1013, Rally 724. It's going to heal you for a little bit over time. The longer you wait, that'd be good enough right now just to show you. I'll hit it again. And non-crit 4,421. So the longer you wait till it ticks, if you get it almost where it's done, it's going to heal you really big. So that's the reason why I go with the two-hander, is really because of that Rally. I'd be okay if you running everything on this bar non-two-hander but Rally. Rally is the sole reason why you run two-hander. Unless you have Vigor, which I do not on this character, I use Rally. And even with Vigor, I still might choose Rally. Alright. Now to the bow. Well, hold on. Execute. And I'm using Incapacitated Strike. It's another very bursty ultimate. It can be a stun. It's a healing debuff. Overall, a very good single target. Single target ultimate. Very cheap. Costs 50. Alright. Poison Injection. This is my go-to ability. This is something that if they are blocking, you can just weave the poison arrow at them over and over again, and it drains their stamina really quickly. Or, if you just want to hit it, it's a great dot. And anytime someone's trying to run away or they're anywhere close to health, you hit them with this, it's a dot execute. it starts hitting really hard when they get under 50%. So I start off with this because it's a great stamina dump, because if they try to block, this is just going to make their stamina go down and down and down and down and down really quickly. Alright, my next ability is Magnum Shot. This just allows me to get away. If someone's too close to my face or I want to crit rush them again, I will hit them with this, and when they get close to me, I'll Magnum Shot, which will move them back and me back. That way I can go ahead and crit rush into them. Alright, Double Take. Now, this is what's going to make you so fast. We're going to mix this Double Take. It's going to grant you a 20% speed bonus using the Major Evasion. It's also going to grant Major Expedition, which moves speed by 40%. I'm sorry, Major Evasion is a 20% dodge chance for 26 seconds, which is amazing because, you know, we don't have a whole lot of self-heals. And then the movement speed by 40%. But we're going to stack it with this right here. It's called Hasty Retreat. Increase your movement speed by 30% for 2 seconds after you execute a dodge roll. That is not the buff, so it actually stacks. And let me show you. We're just going to hit Double Take. And yeah, you're moving kind of fast. Alright, I'm going to dodge roll Double Take. Look how much faster I'm running. You can literally just speed around the map. And it's not taking up a ton of your resources. Okay, and like I said, this build is made to contain your resources. Alright, and then Dark Cloak. This is going to allow you to get in and out of combat. It's going to allow you to Dark Cloak maybe into a surprise attack, which will stun your enemies. Allows you to get away. And the reason why you choose Dark Cloak is because it will remove 4 damage over time effects. And that's huge. Anytime someone hits you with a ballista now, or an unstable flame, or any type of damage over time, you can Dark Cloak just to remove it. Amazing. Now, this is an ability very interchangeable. Alright, Focused Aim. Now, some people use Mark Target. I find that I don't need Mark Target a whole lot unless I'm going against maybe other Nightblades that's really good, or Block Knights, something like that. But even with Block Knights, most of the time you can get around them. And you can, like I said, you can very easily substitute that with, here, we'll get it right here, Reaper's Mark in Heavy Attack. And sometimes I'm going to Heavy Attack anyway. But it's a great way to Shadow Cloak into a Focused Aim when you have 3 or 4 people near you, so that you can burst them down even quicker. Alright? And then Shooting Star, I'm basically going to use this for group play, or if someone's really, really tanky and I just can't get there with Incapacitating Strike, I'm going to hit them with this, and especially if they're blocking, it's going to hit them pretty hard, and then there's not a lot of movability when you're blocking, so they stand in the AoE, you're going to kill them. Pretty much, enough said. I've won a lot of fights with Shooting Star. Alright, let's go into my attributes. 62 points in the stamina. I am an Imperial, so I actually get health points, which is why my health is at 19,000 and my stamina is at 24,000. Alright, with 62 points in the stamina. Now, I'm using Drink. The reason why I'm using Drink is because look at these stats right here. Stamina recovery, Magicka recovery. Magicka recovery is not too high, but the goal is to get your stamina recovery, in my opinion, over 2100. That's the goal. And without doing some severe things, it's hard to get it over 2100 without using potions. Or, yeah, without using the drinks. Alright? Now for the gear. And this is probably the most crucial part. Alright? I'm using 5-piece air. Now, a lot of people use Skirmisher, which is fine, but in order to run this build that I'm running, you have to run 5 pieces of air. And I'll show you why. Okay, this is a little less weapon damage, but it's got some other benefits. Alright, 5 pieces of air, and you have to use these 5 pieces right here. Belt, chest, head, shoulders, gloves. Okay, very cheap, very much cheaper than the Skirmisher set, which a lot of people are running nowadays. Okay, now here comes the expensive part of the build. The reason why I'm running air instead of Skirmisher is because I'm running 5-piece Shadow Walker. I'm running 3 jewelry pieces, and I'm running the legs and the boots. I'm running everything but the weapons for the Shadow Walker. Alright? So, I mean, there's nothing you can say. As you can see, this is 150,000. This is V12, which I have another 14, which I don't know why it's on there. I have so many of them that I bought on accident. So it's, but you can buy Vet 12s that aren't nearly as expensive as 14. So if you can get that, there's not a whole lot of difference in between them. As you can see, 790 stamina or 836 health. So it's not a whole lot different. It is better, obviously, to get the 14, but you don't have to. And then, of course, I'm running a 14 pendant, which is 30,000, which is very expensive. This is 67, 68,000. And these blue are probably about this, maybe a little bit more than these. Very expensive. Now, cost-wise, there's really no other way to lessen the strength of this, or lessen the wallet price on this build. The only way you can do it is if you want to run 5 pieces of air, and you can run 3-piece Ashen Grip, which you can run maybe these 2 pieces right here, and then your weapon. As you can see, I'm running base weapons. This will be a Master 2-hander if I ever get one, and then I'm running a Master Bow. But if you want to go cost efficient, you can go Ashen Grip, which will give you a little bit better. But the reason why I don't, and I am running a weighted bow, which you obviously want sharpened. You want sharpened on both your bow and your 2-hander. Okay? I prefer the mace because the sword does do more damage against light armor people, but I don't care about light armor. I can go through light armor no problem. It's the heavy armor people that you have the problem bursting down. So that's why I go the mace over the 2-hander. And then the reason why I use this bow is because it gives me 280 weapon damage against targets with your poison arrow, which I have them up all the time, and one on my bow, it gives me an extra 960 stamina. I should just make it legendary. I'm trying to wait until I get a sharpened one. I use this setup a lot, so I'm probably just going to make all of this legendary, and it's going to even up my stats even more. And as you can see, I have purple enchants, and I went weapon damage on everything on here. Okay, with my recovery so high, especially using the air set, and using the Shadow Walker set, I have no problems with stamina. Because the reason why you're using 5-piece Shadow Walker, I want you to watch my stats on the right-hand side and left-hand side. When you stealth, you get 965, 1,466 a second every time you're not moving and you're stealthed. Okay, so if you're in a big battle, and this is the reason why I like Shadow Walker, Shadow Cloak, even if they're right next to you, Shadow Cloak, don't move. Look, I hit 1 Shadow Cloak and it almost filled my bar up just from using the Shadow Walker set. So you can essentially get your resources back even if there's somebody around you. Just Shadow Cloak. It doesn't matter if they come up to you. You just regained even 2,000 of your resources back. That can be the difference between a fight. Okay, so that's what I run. Like I said, there's not much of a way for cost efficient because you have to run the Shadow Walker rings. If you have 2 Fang Snake, you can maybe run 2 Fang Snake rings, a random neck, or you can run 2 of the 3, or even all 3, which is good. And then Ashen Grip. You can do it that way. It's not quite as good, but it only drops in trials for AA and Hellraw. So that's the reason that there's no cost-efficient ways, because there's no other rings and neck that give you weapon damage. There's a neck with some other pieces that give it to you, but without doing Morag Tong, there's no other medium pieces, and why do Morag Tong when you use Shadow Walker? Because they cost almost the same. Alright guys, that's my build. Last thing I'm going to show you is my champion points. And we'll do the green trig. This is the most important. Alright, 20 points into stamina cost reduction. That's about as many points as I'm going to put into it for right now. I'm going to start putting into other things, because that's where you get really diminishing returns. And then 16 points into stamina recovery. My next few points are going to go in this until I get up to 20 as well. And then tumbling, which is going to reduce the stamina cost of roll dodging and break free, which you're going to be roll dodging a lot. That's what makes this build so great, is you're going to roll dodge. You're just going to basically keep roll dodging. You're you're going to dive in, roll dodge, dive in, roll dodge, dive in, roll dodge. Because it's going to do one of two things. It's going to allow you not to be hit, and after roll dodging, your weapon damage is increased by 320, and spell damage is the same thing. But spell damage doesn't mean anything. So it's going to give you that increased weapon damage, plus you're not going to be able to be hit. Okay, so back to the champion points. Like I said, 20 points in tumbling, because you're going to be doing it a lot. Alright, I have 25 points in the mighty, because that's going to be the base of your damage. I have 20 points into piercing, because you got to get through that armor. That's a big part of this build, is, you know, breaking that armor down and getting right through it. And then my next few points are also going to go into piercing strikes. You can spread these out evenly. I put less points into piercing strikes, which I think this is the least important one out of the bunch. So split them between these two, and then just put a few into piercing strike, because it does automatically increase your crit rush, because you crit every time. So it does increase that. But like I said, I split my points between these three. If you have enough points, you can take away some from mighty, take away some from piercing a little bit, and then maybe go bow expert, because you will be heavy attacking with your bow to get some of your resources back if needed. Or if you go Reaper's Mark, you might be doing the same thing. So if you want to go into bow expert, I have no problem with it. The way I have this build set up, this is the way I like my points for the most part. And then the steed, it's pretty much, you can put points into pretty much everything. 5-piece medium armor focus, 5-point shield, 10 points thick skin, elemental defender, hardy. As you can see the points, and then quick recovery, which this is one of my favorite passives, increased effectiveness of healing you receive, because healing is just so important, because you don't have a whole lot of it, and when you get healed, you just want it to be good enough. All right. So that's my champion points, that's my gear, that's my skills, and then I'll show you a little bit of gameplay. And here we go. Alright guys, that's the build. I hope you enjoyed it. Go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. I don't know why you haven't. If you haven't, just go ahead and do it. You don't want to miss any of the builds I have coming up. You don't want to miss anything I've been putting out. I've been putting out some decent stuff that I think I've been getting great feedback. People have been telling me stuff they want to see. I know PvP is always a great thing for you guys, and it's always a big hit. My YouTube channel, so that's what I'm going to not necessarily focus on, but make sure I bring you guys enough builds. So, alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you in Tamriel.